everybody, it's Hussein Kabani, your favorite broker, and it's the middle of March 19th to be exact, and here we have a market update for you guys. Basically, the short of it is, if you only want to watch a few seconds of this, is that inventory is on the rise, sales are down year to date, and price is kind of holding on and starting to slip, but let me give you a little bit more detail of what I'm talking about over here right now. Let's address the elephant in the room right now, which is the inventory. So as of this morning, inventory was just under 22,874, I believe it was. It's pretty high. And week over week, we were actually seeing an average for the inventory to be around 4% week over week increase. Week over week from last week to this week, we actually saw a 6% increase in inventory, which was around 1,280 units or so. So a little bit more of an increase. I think that's because, it's midweek right now. We just finished March break. And I think that people have this idea in their mind that they're going to list after March break. So probably a bunch of these people have been preparing their homes and have it ready, and they probably hit the market Monday, Tuesday kind of thing. And the previous week, we didn't have as many sales, but I'm going to get to that in a second. So I think that that's where we got the bump of inventory from. At the beginning of this, I said we are piling up on inventory, and we're at 22,800 and change, almost 22,900. The record number that I recorded was last year, September, so 2024. And the inventory there was just over 26,000 listings available for sale. And I believe that's the highest amount of inventory that has been ever recorded in the GTA. So, we're just under 23,000 right now. And week over week right now, we saw more listings come on. And I feel like that's kind of going to be the trend. I think, like I said, people have a mindset of listing in the spring because that's going to be the best time because they're going to get more attention and more people are going to be out right now. But I just don't think that's necessarily true as of right now for this year in this market right now. So I was telling people earlier on that it might be a better decision to list earlier in the year. And so far from what I'm seeing is that's kind of starting to play out a little bit better. And here's why. So basically, again, the inventory is up. And what we've seen with sales so far is year to date, we're down about 26 or 27% in terms of sales. And last year, we all know it wasn't a stellar year anyway. So now we're down based on that number. It's not trending towards a good spot right now. And even week over week in terms of sales, we were down about 7-ish% in sales. So was that because of March break that, hey, the sales slowed down a bit or whatnot? We're going to have to find out next week and the week after that to see if that actually holds true. But what we really need to happen over here is that if we're going to see this rate of inventory continue to come on, which I really hope we don't, but it seems like we might, we really need that rate of sales to actually pick up, because otherwise we're going to be starting to hit again that record high. And guys, is it possible that we might actually set a new record high in the spring of 2025? Because that's going to be a real insane thing to try to manage. And just to quickly touch on price right now as well, if you guys follow me on Instagram, every Wednesday I do a quick market update with exactly what's going on. But what we've been saying is that, hey, inventory has been climbing, sales have been declining, but the prices kind of have been holding steady. But when I look at it week over week right now, that wasn't the case actually today. So we basically saw again about a 7% decrease week over week in terms of sales, and that was a sales price which was around $88,000 on average. So have we gotten to this point here right now where, hey, inventory is kind of getting up there and the sales are slowing down and it's putting that downward pressure on price? It's still something that we're going to have to wait and see on. There are a bunch of factors that are kind of affecting this right now, and I mean the big thing right now is obviously the trade war that's going on with US and Canada. And I know there's been a lot of attention on US and Canada because that's a big trading partner of ours too. But let's not forget that China has implemented new tariffs on Canada at the same time, mostly geared towards our agriculture. But the stuff that we're dealing with the US right now, that is going to be a big deal. And it just seems like, Trump wakes up in the morning and he's got a different perspective on what's going to happen. So Doug Ford tries to stand up and put a tariff on power going down to the US. And all of a sudden Trump's like, okay, 25 to 50% tariffs, gonna double it right away. This is not sustainable, and I'm no economist, but I can't imagine this is actually going to be good for the US at the same time. And not to get too carried away from a market update, but even if and I'll admit, even me, I was kind of more on the US side a little bit, but as things play out, I think the patriotism towards Canada has just grown massively over the last little while. And even now, someone told me that, how many people have actually enrolled to be in the military in Canada? The numbers have gone sky high compared to what they were. I think that feeling of Canada is still there. Again, personal, and I don't want to get too sidetracked, is like, you know what I've kind of realized through this process at the same time is that I'm actually proud to be Canadian. Maybe I just wasn't happy about the way that the government was running things. And, you know, leading into that, another thing that's causing an effect in this market, I believe, is also going to be the government and the election. And now that the unelected Prime Minister Mark Carney's in, like, let's see what ends up happening with that. And it's going to be a tough one. So he's probably going to have to do something. And I know that's shaking up things too, because I believe that between the Liberal and the Conservatives, they really do have a little bit of a different platform on how they're going to handle things. I'm sure they're pretty much saying the same thing, but I think if we look into it, I think that we can kind of see the key differences of how they're going to handle it. I don't want to get too much into that. But again, there is a lot going on with that. And now let's touch base on inflation. So the inflation number came out. I believe they were looking at or expecting the inflation to be somewhere around like 2.2%, still an increase from where we were, but they were expecting to be 2.2%. And I think we came in at like 2.6%. So still higher, but we already had a rate decrease from Bank of Canada the previous week from 3 points on our prime to 2.75% on our prime. And who knows, like next month, is Bank of Canada going to put the brakes on it because of the inflation? And just to kind of say where that inflation came from. So part of that inflation came from the HST holiday that we had, right? The other parts that was actually affected, and I have some notes over here, was food prices. So food prices were up 1.3%, transportation was up 3%, and shelter costs was up 4.2%. So that's kind of where we saw the inflation come in. Even this 0.25% decrease in interest rate, is that actually helping move the market? Obviously, I shared the stats with you up front. It's not really helping us go anywhere right now. I really think it's a consumer confidence issue at this point right now, because it's not all of this stuff that's going on, but I think people are actually concerned about their jobs as well. There was another article I saw come out of Canada that Bombardier might be concerned that the US might actually cancel some of the contracts that they have for fighter jets and whatnot. And that could definitely be a big hit to Bombardier, which is obviously a massive business for Canada at the same time. So there's a lot of factors at play over here. So what does this mean for you guys? Okay, I've just given you a whole bunch of verbal diarrhea there, but like, what does it mean for you? What does it break down to? If you are actually a buyer, a real buyer here right now and looking to get into the market, I think this is going to offer you a lot more selection in the market, okay? You're going to have things to choose from. And at the same time, I think you're going to have more negotiating power. And of course, you're likely going to get all your conditions in to make sure that you're 100% protected. And I think ultimately you're going to get a really, really, really good deal. And for sellers, what does this mean for you guys right now? If you have to sell, what this means is that your pricing has to be bang on. Like, there's no testing the market. Let me try at this number over here. It's not going to work, guys. That time is over. You're going to be the bridesmaid, and you don't want to be there. And if we continue to see the price decline, well, guess what? If you didn't list it right from the beginning, you're actually going to see a bigger price drop. You're going to net out a lot less. That's in my experience. I've seen this happen so many times, okay? So the pricing has to be correct at this point, because you want to be the bride, you want to get it sold, you want to be out of that thing. If this continues to go the way that it's going to go, like I said, you're going to end up netting out less. The other thing is presentation, guys. The presentation has to be impeccable. Like, you have to stand out. You know how many listings are out there? I told you, just under 23,000. You know, fast buyers and buyer agents click through these listings, blah, 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 blah. You're going to get overlooked, right? So you're going to have like really good media out there. Someone's got to be click, 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 and be like, whoa, what's that? Like, I got to stop and look at that thing. And everything has to be able to make sense over there. So let me jump to the investors. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, let me give you my honest advice. If I was an investor here right now and I was going to say, let me just buy a townhouse, a one-door townhouse, and rent it out. Hard to say, but I don't know. I'm not believing in that right now. By the time you buy a $900,000 townhouse, you put your 20 points down on it, you pay your mortgage, you pay your property taxes, you pay your little insurance there, and you rent it out for $3K. Like, I don't know, you're going to be out $1,500 a month. Does it really make sense? Well, maybe in a previous market, it might have made sense because your negative cash flow might have been $500-600, and you're like, well, it's appreciating. At least I'm making up something over here. But we don't really see that appreciation, so that's a hard pill to swallow. Does it make sense for investors that are actually looking for multiplexes? I think so. I think that actually makes a little bit more sense here right now. You know, we had a client that bought a legal duplex, and I think that still makes sense. It's still positive cash flow. They don't have a short-term mindset. Guys, if you're thinking I'm going to buy something and flip it in 2-3 years, like, this is a joke. Don't do it, okay? Because you're going to lose and you're going to regret doing that. So, you know, if you have a business-minded, long-term mindset in investing in real estate and you buy multi-door, go for it. I think in the long run, it's going to be good. I'm probably going to get some hate on this, but guys, go back and look at 100 years worth of history in Treb. I'm not saying it's going to go sky high, but like, you're telling me in the next 10, 15, 20 years, I can't see an average appreciation of like 4 or 5%. Is that the best use of your money? I don't know, because I don't really dabble in other markets. I dabble in real estate. So for me, if I saw a multiplex opportunity, as much as I hate the LTB in Ontario, I think I would still be inclined to kind of look at it. And especially because this is a conversation I've been having around my office, because everyone's younger than me at my office. It's a YOLO lifestyle, right? We're seeing a lot more people in their 25-ish that are saying, I don't even want to buy real estate. We're going to get back into this with a different podcast and interview some different people about this, but they don't want to buy real estate. So you buying investment property with multi-doors and having a good place for someone to be at, and if this is the mindset of that 25-year-old, like, hey, I'm not going to come up with a down payment, why should I do this? I'm better off renting. You give them a good product and they're going to be like, yo, I don't even want to buy anything. I can't even afford to buy something as good of a quality as what this is in terms of rent. I'm just going to stay here. You might actually win in that cycle. So that's where I think where everyone can kind of benefit if you're a buyer, seller, and investor. What do you guys think is going to happen over here? Because if you ask me, I have no idea. It's such a wild card. It can go either way. I've heard wild things like economists saying that, hey, we're going to hit levels of 2021 pricing because they're going to drop the interest rate so low. And I mean, if that happens, guys, like, you'll be seeing me the first guy liquidating everything I have, because if that happens and that cycle occurs, when that cycle goes down, I don't think that there's any recovery anytime soon. I think you're going to be better to liquidate. But let's see what ends up happening. It's going to be crazy. So let me know, what are you guys seeing? What are you guys feeling? If you were going to be a buyer or seller in this market and you're hesitating right now, let me know why. Drop it in the comment. If you don't feel comfortable, please share it with me in your DM. I'm just curious to know. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. It's just interesting to see what your mindset is at. I really hope that you guys liked this video and got some value out of it. And if you did, even if you didn't, it really help me out. Just hit that like button, subscribe. We have the best content out there. And make sure that you share this with a friend. Until next time, guys, remember one thing: get Cabani, get sold.
Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold.